Hello friends, and welcome back to Auto Fix Zone. Did you replace the fuel pump expecting better vehicle performance but became frustrated because you were surprised by weaker performance than before and even higher fuel consumption? Let me tell you that these two symptoms are only 2 out of 6 symptoms that appear after replacing the fuel pump. So let us not waste time and dive together into a journey of discovering the problems and symptoms that occur after replacing the fuel pump. 1. Engine does not start. You may be surprised by the inability to start the engine after replacing the fuel pump, even though it is new and completely functional, and even though you can hear the fuel pump sound when turning the ignition key to the on position. However, this may sometimes happen because you selected a fuel pump that is not suitable for your engine capacity. You can determine this by measuring the pressure of the new fuel pump using specialized testing equipment. Ultimately, the fuel pump itself may be weak despite being new. 2. Fuel level gauge problem. After replacing the new fuel pump, you may notice a problem with the fuel level gauge in the tank. This issue is not related to the fuel pump itself. What happened is that during the replacement of the fuel pump, the fuel level float sensor was not installed properly, or it may be stuck to the pump body and not moving, or some of the wires of the float's electronic circuit board were cut. In the end, you will face one of these problems. The fuel gauge remains fixed at a certain level despite the tank being completely full or empty. The fuel gauge drops and does not rise at all despite the tank being full. The fuel gauge rises to the full level despite the tank not being full. The low fuel warning light illuminates even though the fuel level is above the reserve limit. Number 3. Engine stalls immediately after starting. If you replaced the fuel pump with a new one due to complete failure of the old pump, you may face a problem after installing the new pump where the engine stalls immediately after starting, as if fuel cannot reach the engine. This is due to clogging of the internal fuel filter of the fuel pump, also known by technicians as the internal fuel strainer. In most cases, this was the cause of the old fuel pump's failure and burnout. Delay in engine starting and noticeable loss of power. You may think that after replacing the old fuel pump with a new one, all your problems, most notably weak engine power and delayed engine starting, will disappear. However, you may find the exact opposite, delayed starting and noticeable loss of power even though the fuel pump is completely functional. This is due to internal hose leaks within the pump assembly and improper tightening. Smelling fuel inside the vehicle. Among all the problems that occur after replacing the fuel pump, this is the most common and significant one, smelling raw fuel inside the vehicle cabin. This occurs for 2 reasons. The first is that the fuel pump cover is not properly tightened. The second is damage to the pump gasket, which is responsible for sealing and preventing fuel leakage outside the tank. Significant increase in fuel consumption with black smoke from the exhaust. An increase in fuel consumption after replacing the fuel pump is uncommon and rare. This occurs due to clogging of the fuel pressure regulator and its inability to return excess fuel beyond the engine's requirement. As a result, a larger quantity of fuel enters the engine when the injectors open through the engine control unit, ECU. You did not notice this issue with the old fuel pump because it was already weak and the amount of fuel entering the engine was low. However, this problem appeared with the new pump not because of the pump itself, but due to a faulty fuel pressure regulator stuck in the closed position. We previously presented a detailed video about the symptoms of a faulty fuel pressure regulator, which you can watch through the link available in the description box below the video. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to AutoFix Zone for more tips and guides to keep your car running smoothly.